I'm Lisa Snyderman, and this is Conversations on Creating to Heal. Today, I'm delighted to be speaking with Asha Lightbearer in Atlanta, Georgia, a singer-songwriter and energy healer. Her story is one of recovering from childhood sexual abuse and launching the Fiona Project, a music and arts movement for childhood sexual abuse prevention and healing. Welcome, Asha.
Thank you. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, of course. So I kind of described you as wearing a few hats, singer-songwriter, energy healer, and also launching the Fiona Project. Can you describe a little bit about who you are and if you might have a mission?
Sure. I've been doing music since I was a very little child, and it just kind of spoke to me, so I don't think it could have escaped me. So there's the singer-songwriter part. Regarding healing, I found that in my 20s and have been doing it since. And then through this process of remembering my own abuse, the Fiona Project kind of was birthed as a dream, actually, literally a night dream that came in, and I knew it was a video. So I just kind of ran with it from there, and it's evolved since.
Wow. So does the Fiona Project have a mission?
Yeah, definitely. The idea was to give survivors a voice, because most survivors never speak. They don't tell. Like 9 out of 10 don't tell. And if they do mention it, it's later when they're an adult and they're trying to heal and they have no idea what to do or how to do it. So the video was originally to give them a voice. And then as it evolved and has grown over the last 4 years, it became very clear that I wanted to use music and the arts to bring the topic to public awareness in a nice, easy, gentle way, so people would be better informed and be able to prevent it, because 95% of it can be eliminated from prevention, just education, and people just don't know about it because they don't talk about it.
Wow, what a powerful and important mission. Thank you for doing that.
Thanks.
So I want to launch into your story. So what was it for you that, and I know it might be hard to talk about, but what was it for you that most significantly transformed you? I know people go through, very hard life challenges and events.
Well, I would say in terms of transformation, I'd been using music for healing my whole life, because that was I lived in a family where I wasn't going to talk about what was going on. So I would just use music, and I would write, and would kind of get the dirt and the gook out into the ethers, out of my body, into the piano, whatever I was doing. And then, so it's always been transformative. And then when I started having flashbacks and remembering little pieces and things and trying to put it all together and process that, the most transformative part, ironically, was not necessarily the writing of the song. It was the recording of the song and becoming a public face attached to child sexual abuse prevention and healing, because it really forced me to own my stuff and say, this happened to me, it doesn't define me. Yeah. And then be unashamed to say, this is what it is, and the only way we're going to get through it is to undo the taboo, to prevent it, and to speak about it and be able to say it out loud and just face the fear. And on the other side is complete freedom. But the process from, this happened to me, and I have to accept it, and I have to just own it and know that it's real and it really did happen, because now I'm healing. And then getting to the other side of telling my family, my old friends, what are they going to think? There was just so much stigma, and they're never going to believe this, and why would they believe me? And they're going to say I'm a liar, and I can barely believe it myself, all that stuff. Getting to the other side now, where I just stand up and I just talk about it, is the most healing, liberating thing I ever could have done for myself. And it's the thing survivors never want to do. But and it's not about naming people and making them wrong. For me, that's not important. What's important is that I do the work, I heal, and I can now show up as a voice and help others to heal as well, because I really believe that being able to say it out loud and speak it and own it and letting go of the fear around it is what makes you heal for this particular situation of child sexual abuse. So it's a gift. It's a gift.
Tell me, in your writing, was this a topic that you approached, or was just the act of songwriting and recording a process for you to deal with? Was that your coping mechanism? Because some people actually literally take the topic and write about it, and other people just use music to process.
Sure. I did not take the topic and write about it. It was kind of an accident. I do get a lot of my music in dreams, and then I wake up and I run to the computer, I mean, at the keyboard, and I put it in and capture and record whatever I can before it quick is gone. So one night I literally had a night dream. I could see the little girl holding her dad's fingers in her little plaid dress, and I could hear, welcome home, Fiona the Renegade. And I could hear some of this stuff floating around. So I ran out and I started writing, and I actually didn't know what I was writing about until I was coming up on the chorus. As I got through the first verse and I watched the lyrics unfold, I remember getting to the chorus and just sobbing, because it was something that was fresh for me. I had only been having flashbacks and working on it for a year, maybe at that point, or 2 years, something like that, not very long. And then I realized what I was doing, and I try to get out of the way. I'm an intuitive. I try to get out of the way and just let it come through. So when I write, I don't edit. I just do it, and then I edit later if I want to, or I need to. Yeah. So I spent 3 days, about an hour to an hour and a half or 2 hours per day, and it was done. And then I did some tweaks, but when I realized what it was, I just felt like it was a gift from the universe, something that I could do to help others, and that I was compelled to do it. It was it was like an honor.
And so when you did get this expression out into the world, what was some of the impact, and how has sharing Fiona and the Fiona Project helped you and helped others?
This has actually been phenomenal. Right from the beginning, I had no budget at all, to do any of this. So I started just reaching, I was using my intuition and looking at screens and saying, okay, I'm going to need a videographer. I was like, he's the guy. And I just said what I'm doing. And the outpouring of love and support from the community, I mean, from tool rental people that were renting me they gave me a generator for a day to use to be able to film out under this power line. And the love and support and encouragement has been so profound. That was really humbling and honoring, and meant a lot to me. It was very healing. And at the same time, it showed me how big the need was in the community to have this stuff recognized, because it had not been. This all was before the Me Too even started being really public. So I'd been working on this, and then they came really public right before my release, which took 2 years. So, and then since then I play, I've won some awards. I won an award for Best Music Video for Empower Positive Music Awards last year. And so I got to play another song that came through that was related, and I got to share this, and I got to speak about the project, and because it uses musicians to share the word about prevention. And people would walk up to me, and it's so powerful, because sometimes they can't even speak. They just look at you, and you can see all over their face and in their eyes. They can't say anything. They just hug you and hold your hand, and they walk away, and it's.
And that you have touched them. Yeah. It's not about the words. That's about allowing yourself to be vulnerable, so that they know they're not alone, and that they don't have to have the shame or the guilt. Yeah. That's very, very powerful. Thank you for sharing that. I want to invite you to share a meaningful, piece, and maybe it's a piece of Fiona, and then talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I'd love to do that. I would definitely love to share part of the song. And, I'd like to, the lyrics were really important to me. It kind of goes through the process of what it's like to be that child who feels so alone. And then the acting out, a lot of us became very promiscuous or very angry, or a lot of acting out. And so the title is Fiona the Renegade, right? So here's really this innocent that then becomes a renegade while she's trying to work through her stuff, and nobody knows, of course. And, showing how the child becomes the adult and the damaged relationships. And I think one of my favorite scenes in the video that I'd like to share is when the adult self is ripping off all of these notes off the mirror of everything that she's condemned herself with, everything she's ever heard. Foul language, you're this, you're that, you wanted it, no one will believe you. There's just all this bad stuff that we carry around and we apply. And I love that scene because I suffered with depression when I was younger and had suicidal thoughts. And there's a scene where she's holding the razor blade and she drops it in the sink. And then she starts ripping all of the bad things off the mirror. And when she finally takes down the first one maybe blows down, and she sees the child herself in the mirror. And as she rips it down, then the child's revealed and then they embrace. And I think that's really all it's about, is loving yourself as a child, that little part that was wounded. Because most of us, maybe not most, but a lot of us, I know, we hate that little child. It's like, stop whining, you sniveling little wreck. And that's not healthy. So I think that's probably the most profound thing. The last line is, love yourself. And it's like, Fiona, fly, love yourself free. And so the last line just ends with love yourself. And to me, that's it.
Love yourself free. Welcome home, Fiona, victim of selfish love. You face the world alone, a fearful and wounded child. Welcome home, Fiona, nothing but years gone by. You face the world alone, an angry and desperate child turned renegade. Fly, Fiona, fly. Someday your tears will all dry. Oh, Fiona, listen to me. Release the hate. Love yourself.
The images are powerful. The feelings, what you're giving to the world, what a powerful, beautiful message. So thank you for that. So before we go, this is a hard question as well, but do you have any life lessons or words, affirmation, something to help people who might be going through something similar?
Yeah, definitely. The thing that I can say that I observe in my groups with the people that I work with and myself is you have to choose healing. It's not something that just happens automatically because some fairy hits you with a wand of grace and healing. It's like, it can be a tough journey and it's a hard path. And I feel like you have to value healing above everything else in your life and want to be whole and healthy and seek it with a mission. It's so easy to be in the victim role and be angry and stay there. And it's right to feel those things. I mean, it's right to be angry and be there for a while. But if you camp out there, you're never going to get to that liberated, happy self that you can be. And I just encourage people, you're not broken. You're bent, maybe. And you can be whole, you can be healthy, you can be happy, you can have a good, satisfying relationship. Are there challenges? Of course there are challenges. There are some things we have to get over, but choose healing. Walk through the fear. Make that commitment to yourself. It's not for anybody else. And you know what? The best revenge is being successful, being happy, being healthy. So if you're really angry at that person or those people, choose yourself. Don't let them hold you down. And I would say that's it for me. Walk through the fear and choose healing.
choose healing, walk through the fear, and be happy and successful. Yeah, thank you for coming on to Conversations on Creating to Heal.
Thank you, Lisa.